Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Business Spotlight. Joining me today is Michael Kehoe, who is broker with Fairfield Commercial Real Estate in Calgary and a spokesperson for the group Consumer Real Estate Canada. Thanks, Mike, for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me, Mario.
All right, we got lots of news going on in the retail world these days. I want to ask from your perspective, looking at the scene on the retail industry nationally, which you keep a close track of with the group Consumer Real Estate Canada. What are you seeing out there for retail these days?
Well, we're living in interesting times, to be sure, Mario. Across our great land, demand for retail and restaurant space is very high. Vacancy rates are low. Rental rates appear to be stable for now. And business confidence, for the most part, is high. Any businesses that were in transition or closed during the pandemic period set out anywhere from 2 to 4 entrepreneurs out looking for space and opening new ventures. So it's a very interesting phenomenon. Retail sales and consumer footfall at shopping centers, dining venues, and entertainment venues are robust across the country. Consumers are back with a vengeance as things normalize and after the COVID-related restrictions have pretty much passed on. On one hand, we're heading into a summer of free spending and indulgence. And on the other hand, there are concerns and uncertainty both with consumers and with business owners. It's like an episode of the Netflix series Stranger Things. There's a reality of world events, high energy prices, supply chain issues, labor shortages, high taxes, government red tape that delays approvals, plus the boogeyman of high inflation. But there's a parallels, kind of the upside down of free spending and indulgence in most markets across the country. So we're living in very interesting times, and it's the best of times and the worst of times, if you will.
Okay, yeah, you froze a little bit there, Michael, but you just we were talking about the parallel universe. Give me specific examples of what you mean by that and what you're seeing out there.
Well, here in Calgary on Sunday, I drove past the Calgary Food Bank and the cars were lined up out of the parking lot and down the street. Outside of Canada's largest homeless shelter, the tent city has returned and the numbers of those in need continues to rise. On Friday, I visited the Holt Renfrew store and the store was extremely busy, and many regional shopping centers that I visit are enjoying double-digit sales increases over reservation in Calgary right now in prime time is almost impossible. So it truly is the best of times and the worst of times. Retailers and restaurateurs and other entrepreneurs have adapted their business models in the post-pandemic period to suit the changing consumer real estate needs. And I guess, we are living in interesting times. So there's a real parallel universe going on, but it is exciting to say the least.
You know, when you talk about that parallel universe, what comes to mind as well is that even in the retail sector, it's a parallel universe, right? You've got the luxury sale stores or that category that's doing extremely well from what I understand. And yet, in the same token, you've got the discount retailers, the Dollaramas of the world doing exceptionally well as well, right?
There is incredible polarization in the retail universe, certainly in Canada and abroad as well, where, as you've stated, the luxury brands are expanding, their sales are robust, and on the other end of the spectrum, the value end of the spectrum, dollar stores and any retailers that have a perception of value are really doing well at these times. So yeah, it is very interesting.
So tell me a little bit about, from the retailer's perspective, what do they have to do to succeed in this environment these days?
Well, they need affordable rents. They need lease terms to that sync up with their business cycles. They need to be communicating with their landlords and 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 their team members. Staffing shortages, labor related issues are top of mind. They need to sort this out. And what we're seeing is that the food service businesses and the retail businesses that are doing well have sorted this out on the staffing front, and it will be the perpetual challenge. But I think those are two top of mind issues that need to be addressed.
Okay, now, Mike, I know that you like to wander around, and some people call it being a flaneur. I love that word, but it's a sense of wandering around and experiencing things and seeing things with your own eyes, right? And so you do a lot of that. You do a lot of visiting of malls and other retail areas. I want to ask you about some of those places, like. What are you seeing in malls these days in terms of the traffic and what they're doing?
Well, the word flaneur is pretty one of those. I'm just a commercial leasing broker that's out management by walking around, talking to retailers, talking to restaurateurs, and visiting consumer real estate venues to get a feel for what's going on. And from a city standpoint, from a town standpoint, the jurisdictions that have focused on grooming their main streets to make them pedestrian friendly, curating great businesses to go in, enhancing the streetscape with good patio and see and be seen opportunities. These are the places that are excelling. Same on the shopping center front. Building owners and project managers that are focusing on the customer experience. These are the venues that are succeeding. And, people want to have an experience these days, and we really need to focus on that in order to succeed.
What do you think, in terms of the malls? Obviously, the mall of today is one heck of a lot different than the mall when I grew up, right? Do you see it continuing to evolve and change in terms of its mix of tenants?
Well, Mario, you're so old that the mall of your day was the dumbbell where there was an anchor at each end and small stores in between.
That's right.
Um, Today, shopping centers have evolved so far with the experiential retail, entertainment, shoppertainment. Um, Shopping center sites are densifying where they're adding mixed use, residential, office components, entertainment components. The properties are really look nothing like they did 20 years ago or beyond.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting phenomenon.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you, and speaking of phenomena, is the retail being used as an anchor for different and new communities, right? Out there, like you pretty much have to have that retail, I don't know, hub, I guess, in order to build residential these days. You look at places like University District or some of the outlying areas, right?
It's a phenomenon across North America that, you know, new communities need a gathering place, a retail hub where they can have their amenities. The customer can have an experience, residents can gather for events and this type of thing. It's a phenomenon that we're seeing um, certainly in some of the new communities in Alberta that we're working on. These go food or weekly customer visits for groceries. We're seeing many more amenities added. So it's an interesting phenomenon.
All right, super. Thanks, Mike, for joining us today.
Thank you, Mario, for the invitation. Thank you.
All right, super. That was Michael Kehoe, broker with Fairfield Commercial Real. Sorry, yeah, stumbling there. Fairfield Commercial Real Estate in Calgary, also a spokesperson for the national group Consumer Real Estate Canada. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Business Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.